I don't know if I will ever get into the whole like relationship things with this one, because the problem is like if they had like a map or something, like how should I put this, like a map that would allow me to go through the various choices and do them one by one to like see the various different endings and see the various different like achievements, because there's some really cool achievements that you do not normally see in your relationship in your fucking normal playthrough. Because for example, the one that comes to mind is that if you fail at one of the events, for example, I did the you remember in the first chapter there was like an event where I definitely did talk about this, but in the first chapter of this book there was an event where Kate was attacked by a bunch of like what are they, like normal people with like weapons and stuff, and we went to get what's his name, Darren, and yeah, she killed them all at the end of it whole thing when we came back, by the time we came back. But instead, if you had put like 3 points in like certain stats, you can actually just like pick up a tree and run around and just kill them all, which is super cool, which I did when I was trying to get some achievements and whatnot to unlock the next chapter, which you would normally never see. But the problem is, like, if I tried to get an achievement, so let's say I'm in the 3rd book right now, right? So let's say if I wanted to get an achievement right now, right, I need to have specific stats. And those specific stats I can only get if I were to play the entire book again from chapter 1, book 1, and then put points, gradually all the way to that event. So every event I will have to go the entire way back to get like the required stats for it, which is one of the reasons that it sucks. I really wish they would just like, after you finish a book, they would give you like a map and they would just like max out all your stats and stuff and whatnot. Like a special like creative mode or something where you can like see all the options and what like having different stats and not having different stats would have allowed you to do, like a toggle that you could turn off the stats, turn on the stats, so you can see how would like every fail event would go, every win event would go. So that would have been pretty fucking cool. Why the fuck are these dogs barking? But whatever. Where were we? For some reason, talking with Layla like this feels really natural, as if we have known each other for a long time and now we are just catching up with what the other's been doing since the last time we talked. Our conversation flows effortlessly from one topic to the next, making us lose track of time as we both become more and more relaxed. It's been a while since we have had the chance to just talk and unwind like this, hasn't it? Layla writes as she lazily stretches her arms overhead. Lately, it seems like all we've been doing during our free time is train and more training. The only moments when we actually get to loosen up somewhat are our night shifts. Speak for yourself, I say. The last time when I took a night shift with Darren, he made me stand in place and spin around over and over so he could study me from all angles as part of his aura training. He even made me stand on one foot while touching my nose with both my hands. I'm not even joking. Layla giggles silently. When she giggles, and she is mute, does she make sound? Because like there's like levels of mute, I believe, just like there's levels of blindness. I believe from the looks of it, she does make sound when she giggles, but at the same time it feels like she wouldn't, so I don't really know. That doesn't sound that bad, she writes, at least not as bad as that one time when Kate almost gave me a heart attack during one of my night shifts by jumping up from the ground all of a sudden and killing some random birds with her icicles because she thought an enemy maid summoned them as scouts. She pauses. Hey, maybe we should do a night shift together too sometimes, Layla writes. It would be a nice change of pace. I promised with me that you won't need to worry about being told to stand on one foot and spin in place much. Tell her that I was planning to take the next night shift with Hardrick to cheer him up. Oh boy, this is going into the relationship route, so I'm gonna save just in case, but yeah, I'm gonna agree with that. It doesn't necessarily have to go down that route, but it feels like it. So yeah, I'll agree to that. I mean, god damn it. You know what? I'm actually going to tell her I'm planning to take the next shift with the Hardrick to cheer him up. Well, he was cheered up. I feel like I don't know. I will take it. I'll come back to it if it goes down like the whole relationship route, because I definitely don't want to form relationships just yet. I want to see the whole neutral story before I get into the relationship. Maybe I'll get into like, maybe I'll play the book like 5-6 times till I get all the fucking thing I want. We'll see. So I'll agree to it, and I'm gonna save now. Yeah, that doesn't sound like a bad idea. I say I'm talking of course about doing our next night shift together, not about spinning on one leg part. I kind of figured it out already, but thanks for clarifying, Layla writes with a smile. So we'll take the second night shift tonight then. Sounds good, I say. I'll look forward to it, Layla writes. After a short pause, during which neither of us say anything, Layla writing appears again in front of me. My father sure is taking a while to come back, isn't he? She writes, now looking slightly worried. Do you happen to have the magical transceiver? Frequency of his transceiver so I can try giving him a call, I ask her. No, Layla writes as she shakes her head. There's no way for me to communicate with him through a transceiver, so I didn't really have much of a reason to ask him for his frequency number. I suppose we could try asking around the waiting room. If somebody saw where he went, I said. There's only one corridor that leads from here to the waiting room, so we should almost certainly run into him on our way there if he comes back. Yes, Layla writes, we should probably do that. We both get up and begin walking down the same corridor again, heading back to where we originally came from. As we walk, I can't help but notice that Layla is looking slightly anxious. Oh, by the way, I just remembered something. This game doesn't really have, as far as I can remember, much of a quote-unquote naughty time. They did talk about Melindra's whole like tent adventure a bit. Like they went into like some detail to some extent, but when I did the first chapter's Rose event, when I tried to go down that route just to check what it's like, they just pretty much went and they like slept together. And it's like, what the fuck? That's it. I mean, I know that YouTube probably doesn't really like all that, because I have had like a fucking episode taken down from Rogue's Choice. But then again, Rogue's Choice went into way too much detail. So it makes sense that YouTube didn't like that one. So it is a bit more YouTube friendly, but I would personally like to see a bit more stuff. I can always just like put it up on screen for a second and just like have all of you pause to read it yourself. I don't necessarily have to read it myself, but I would at least like some detail to be existing in this stuff. So I'm guessing if this night shift goes into a night shift, I might just I might just put that up if there's like some extremely steamy stuff. Highly doubt it though. We begin getting up and walking down the same corridor, heading back to where we originally came from. As we walk, I can't help but notice Layla is looking slightly anxious. Do you think my father is okay? She writes to me after a while. Hey, I'm sure he's fine, I tell her. Knowing him, he probably went to fix some device that's too big to move back into his workshop. That's why he hasn't come back yet. Yeah, Layla writes, looking as if she were trying to convince herself that everything is indeed fine. That's probably what happened. After a few more minutes, we finally reached the waiting room and started looking for people there. They saw Dr. Reitzig passing by, but none of them seem to have come across him lately. As we are interrogating all the people around us, standing around, we see Albert approaching us, who appears to have come from the direction of the throne room. Dr. Reitzig, Albert says after we ask him the same question that we asked everyone else in the room. I think he went to teach our younger white mages how to use his healing devices a few hours ago. Oh, and after that, he got a call from Barry to go help with him some regular maintenance in the teleporting device. That was more than an hour ago, though. He hasn't come back since? No, Layla writes. We've been waiting for him this whole time in front of his workshop, but he hasn't returned. Well, it's possible that the teleporter maintenance is taking a bit longer than usual this time, Albert calls. Do you want me to give him a call? I mean, you could just give us the frequency while you're at it as well. Yes, please, Layla writes, if it's not too much trouble. Alright, Albert says. It takes out his transceiver. He then switches the transceiver frequency, taps it once. He then puts it close to his mouth. Dr. Reitzig, can you hear me? Albert says. And then he checks his transceiver again, looking at its screen very intently. This is strange. His transceiver seems to be closed. I know that he does that sometimes so that he won't lose his concentration while working on something really complicated, but would he really need to focus that much on fixing the teleporter? Give me a moment, I'll try calling Barry instead. Albert switches the transceiver's frequency and taps it again, but once more he doesn't get any answer. I can't reach Barry either, Albert says, visibly frustrated. He's talking with somebody else on the transceiver. We're going to have to wait for him to finish his conversation before we can actually you know what? Never mind. Hey Peter, can you come in for a second? Sure, says Peter, who seems to have just entered the waiting room, is now getting closest to us. What is it? Quarantine Ender. Huh. Dr. Reisig been missing for a while, and the last thing we know about him is that he went to the teleporter room to do some regular maintenance. Albert says we tried calling him, both him and Barry, in the transceiver, but neither of them are answering. Could you pay Barry a quick visit to see if anything's wrong?